In this video, we shall deal with the most pressing questions Kenyans are asking themselves right now. You know something very interesting about Kenyans? They're always very impatient to find out what will happen next. They're always very impatient for somebody to figure out for them and to accurately predict what will happen next. What will happen to DP Ruto next? Will the fight against corruption be won, or it will be abandoned somewhere in the middle? Who is clean in Kenya? Are some people clean enough to successfully fight and defeat corruption in Kenya? We're going to answer most of these highly sensitive questions. The ones we cannot answer, you'll be able to find in my latest Sensitive Club 1999 video. And so let's get started. Now, before we go any further, there's something very important that every Kenyan must understand. If you don't understand this, then you'll have no clue, when things start rapidly unfolding in our country. Already things are moving at a very fast pace. But trust me, the pace is set to increase. Now, this is one of those rare instances where the spiritual, fully agrees with the physical. What do I mean? I mean that if you're a keen political analyst and you read the current situation in Kenya, you will come to a conclusion that is very similar to what spiritual experts and those who are prophesying over Kenya are coming to. The two meet and agree, which is very rare. Now, a quick look at recent developments in the spiritual arena. Now, the overturned prophetess, Princess Bola Adelani, has felt led to launch 50 days of national prayer, fasting, repentance, and rededication. Indeed, this is being launched tomorrow at the Nairobi Baptist Church on Gong Road. Tomorrow, March 30th, Saturday, March 30th, 2019, starting from 11 a.m. Now, because the Almighty is cleaning his house, and is doing that by making major revelations and exposures that have exposed the rot inside the church, many people in Kenya have become very wary of servants of God, especially servants of God they're not very familiar with. And that is, it's not surprising, based on what has unfolded in recent times and continues to unfold. However, in this particular case, nobody's asking you for your money. This is not a project launched to raise money. So relax. And nobody is going to ask you to plant any seed in finances. This is about prayer, sacrifice, fasting, repentance, and rededication of Kenyans. Why? Because we're in a period of travailing. We're in a period of labor. In order for the birth of a brand new Kenya to happen. It is really very simple. There's no way you're going to give birth to that bouncing baby, unless you go through labor first. And that is very significant. And so, this period of fasting and repentance and prayer for all Kenyans all over the world is quite appropriate. And it tells you the times we are in. So whoever can make it for that, I urge you to. And I urge all Kenyans who pray to join with other Kenyans in prayer. Now let's move away from the spiritual. We have seen what is happening in the spiritual. Now, politically, if we analyze the current situation, it is very clear where we are. We're in a very difficult time in Kenya. A time of uncertainty. A time of a lot of financial difficulties. The real estate market is on its knees. People are not buying houses. Real estate developers, whom only yesterday were laughing all the way to the bank, are now being auctioned and going out of business. Whole estates, whole developments built, very many units, are completely empty. and there are no buyers in sight. Yeah, people are complaining there's no money. And experts are telling us, mambo bado. There is the current ongoing fight against corruption. And whatever people want to say about it, Kenyans are very skeptical. There are very many people in Kenya, right now as we speak, who no longer sleep at night. They can't get any sleep. Why? Because they're picturing themselves, being on the front page of all the local newspapers, in handcuffs, being charged in a court of law for what they've done, the corruption they've been involved in. And that's not all. All kinds of very strange things are happening. I think most of you have seen a tweet by the former Sports and Culture CS, Bwana Echesa. The tweet claims that Echesa has been blocked, by a person who previously supported him to the hilt, the deputy president, so that he can no longer reach him, either by phone, text message, whatever. Now, this should hardly be surprising, and in fact should be a lesson for very many Kenyans who want to go all out for quick money, and especially for what I would term, what I keep on calling on this channel, as political rookies, people who get very excited and jump before they think. The advice of an old man, now long gone, the late William Olentimama, is very appropriate and very relevant. If Bwana Echesa had followed that advice, Olentimama used to tell people, you should lie low like an envelope. Kama Bwana Echesa angetuliza boli, if he had just lied low and done his job and kept out of politics, he'd still have his job. Now he's out of a job, and his old master doesn't take his calls anymore. It's called the tissue paper syndrome. Tissue paper is very important. Indeed, it is very valuable when you enter a toilet. But after you've finished your business, how do you treat the toilet paper? You look at it with disgust in your eyes, and you flush it down the toilet violently. My apologies for that very graphic example, but I just want to make sure you get the point that the tissue paper syndrome is very much in play right now. And going forward, we should expect to see more and more of it. Anyway, the long and short of what I'm trying to say is that the nation called Kenya has just now gone into labor. If you've ever taken your wife or somebody into labor ward, then you know what I mean. There's a lot of anxiety. As you took the person to the labor ward, they were screaming in pain. They were writhing in pain. And if you took a moment to try and listen in to what was happening inside the labor ward, well, I've even been inside one while action is going on. But if you listened at the door, you'd hear the kind of screams. Hey, you'd wonder what's going on inside there. Are people getting murdered? No, people are in labor. The nation called Kenya is officially now in labor. Folks, labor is also a dangerous time. There are instances where the mother does not come out of the labor ward. They leave the earth. And there are other instances where the mother comes out, but she's not a mother. She doesn't come out with the baby. The baby does not survive. The long and short of what I'm trying to say is that the outcome, you hope for the best when you send somebody into a labor ward, but the outcome is unpredictable. I firmly believe that Kenyans realize this, and that is why they're scrambling all over the place for prophecies to be able to get an idea of what is going to happen next. What the outcome from that labor ward will be. Will it be a brand new Kenya, which you all desire? Or will the whole thing go horribly wrong? Because both options are on the table. They're always on the table. Now, the first question I'd like to tackle, because I've received a lot of feedback from the previous video, the first question I'd like to tackle is, what is Kabogo really up to? And are we bound to see a lot of other Kabogos going forward? Now, most of the people on this channel are very alert. They listen to a video, they know exactly what I've said. But there are very many others who have a problem understanding. The most recent example is a previous video I did on William Kabogo, the former Kiambu governor. What I did on that video is that I gave you various scenarios. Then at the end I said, it remains a deep mystery. But some people got it wrongly. I saw in the comments some people saying, Chris, you're wrong, and you're going to be ashamed, with this analysis. Which analysis? What is it that I said about Bwana Kabogo that I'll be ashamed of later? Because according to me, I didn't say anything. What I did is that I gave you various possible scenarios. I didn't write anything in stone. And I believe my conclusion confirmed it, because I said this Kabogo thing remains a mystery. It could go either way. Either he's still in the Uhuru camp, or maybe has moved to the Ruto camp. But clearly, that was too complex for some people here to comprehend. Which is okay. We are not all the same. We don't have the same intelligence levels. I get that, and I appreciate that. Anyway, to help us understand Bwana Kabogo's motivation, there's a very important nagging question. Is William Kabogo broke, or is he not broke? Are things okay with him financially, or are they not? Well, the true answer to that question is highly sensitive. And I cover it in my latest Sensitive Club 1999 video. You can see the details on your screen on how to join Club 1999. And I guarantee you, the answer is not what you expect. I guarantee you, the answer will shock you. And give us pointers as to what his motive was. Now, going forward, let's put the Kabogo issue aside for a minute. Going forward, do we expect people to jump camp because of finances? I think the answer is yes. And I believe this will happen in both camps. And therefore, going forward, I think it is prudent that whenever any major defection happens, on either side of the political divide, it will be prudent to ask the question, what are the finances of this person who has behaved in this way? I believe that will be that will be a very important clue to answer the mystery. Now, in part 2 of this video, we will answer the burning question, who is going to be arrested over the dam scandal? Because you can be sure people are going to be arrested. But who? Especially, which big fish, which big heavyweights are going to be arrested over the dam scandal? So make sure you don't miss part 2 of this video. And it will come to you immediately after the brief upcoming break. Don't miss it. Welcome to part 2. Now, Peter Munya, who is the Cabinet Secretary for Industry, was recently interrogated, or shall I use the Kenyan term grilled, by the DCI. And he had something very interesting to say. He said that immediately he moved into the ministry, he could sense pressure to sign some certain documents related to the dam projects. And he got very suspicious, over this pressure. And he wondered what was the personal interest. Indeed, he suspected that there was a personal interest in some people within the ministry, that he quickly signs, those documents related to the dams. Now, Munya says that this individual, who has not been named, kept on calling him, asking him why he had not signed the documents. And that is not all. This other very powerful individual kept on calling him, telling him to make sure that this damn Manenos never gets to the press. Now, he has not named that individual, and I have a pretty good idea who that individual is. However, for today, let your guess be as good as mine. However, this one I can tell you for sure, that individual will be arrested. And I can also tell you something else about that individual. That individual is a very powerful senior member of the Jubilee government. That is an arrest that will definitely excite Kenyans. Okay? Somebody else. I am highly doubtful. In fact, let me put it like this. I'll be surprised if the cabinet CS, Bwana Henry Rotich, comes out of all this unscathed. Going by what we have seen so far, the best outcome he can ever hope from this is for him to lose his cabinet portfolio. That's the best outcome. Let me just leave it at that. Of course, I know you're aware a lot of other worse things than that could easily happen to him over the dam scandal. Now, another question I've been asked, is it true that before the president went to visit the deputy president in his office, he had a meeting with a man called Raila Odinga? The answer is yes, it appears to be true. Now, why is this significant? Actually, it's very simple, and let's keep it simple. The handshake between President Uhuru Kenyatta and His Excellency Raila Odinga was not well received by the DP Ruto camp, and with good reason. The reason is the handshake has shifted power away from the deputy president to Raila Odinga. And so, if it is true that President Uhuru Kenyatta's visit to his deputy was a peace meeting, it was a peace initiative, as most of the press have put it, then it can only mean that power has once again shifted away from Raila Odinga and the handshake back to the deputy president. That's the only way peace can be restored. Peace in quotes. Peace between the DP Ruto camp and the president. And so, common sense tells us, if the president indeed met Raila Odinga before he met DP Ruto, then that was definitely not a peace meeting. And power and influence within the government has not shifted back to the deputy president. It's really as simple as that. Let me give you another example to help you understand this better. And let's take you back to your school days. You have reported somebody, another student. Let's even say you have reported your prefect to the headmaster. And before the headmaster meets with you, he meets with his prefect. What do you think the outcome of that will be? If you understand these things well, then what it means is that it's highly likely that the outcome of your meeting with the headmaster will be not what you expect. Because if there was trouble for the prefect, what would have happened is that the headmaster would have met you first and then maybe summoned the prefect later. But if he's seeing the prefect before he sees you, things are not good for you. It's very simple. Now, the next question I'd like to tackle is highly sensitive, and it's also a little deep. So you'll need to put on your thinking caps. Okay? And the question was simply this: is the Moi family and the Kenyatta family, those two families, are they morally justified in leading the fight against corruption? That is quite a question, wouldn't you agree? Now, all Kenyans are fully behind the president, or let me just put it this way. The vast majority of Kenyans are fully behind the president in his fight against corruption. Most Kenyans realize that this fight against corruption is a fight for the very soul of Kenya. If this fight is lost by any chance, then the soul of Kenya is lost. And when the soul of somebody is lost, it means that person is lost. They're dead, they're gone. So in other words, if the fight against corruption in Kenya fails, then Kenya is finished. Most people agree with that. I too believe that. And because this fight is so important, it does not matter so much who is leading it. What matters is if it succeeds. That is the view of the vast majority of Kenyans. However, it is also true that what we're seeing currently in Kenya is old money fighting new money. At the end of the day, money controls politics. Money controls everything. Okay? Now, I'm afraid this is highly sensitive. And if you want to get full details of what I mean, that it's old money versus new money, then you need to become a member of Club 1999. And you'll receive this highly sensitive video. I believe on your screens right now, you can see details of what you need to do. It's very easy to join. And you'll be able to get not only this sensitive video, but other many sensitive videos that you've missed in the past. This is why I said, in part 2 of this video, that Kenya, the country called Kenya, is in labor. It is in the labor ward. And the results are unpredictable. And the results could be very good or very bad. There's hardly a middle ground. Folks, Kenya is at a crossroads. And what will happen after this is so crucial that it's going to affect very many generations to come of Kenyans. That is how important it is. What is happening in Kenya right now is bigger than anybody. It is bigger than any one leader. That is really what it is. But maybe just to give you a glimpse, a small snippet of what I discuss in my very highly sensitive video, where I include actual incidences, very critical instances that have unfolded in Kenya recently, concerning this money. Anyway, to give you a glimpse, for you to prosecute somebody for corruption, or for enriching themselves using public funds, you need something very important called evidence. Now, already we have seen it has proved to be very difficult, very hard work for the DCI to get evidence on corruption that happened just the other day, last month, last week, in the last few months. Okay? It has already proved to be very difficult. So, let me ask a question. Do you think it is going to be possible? Do you think it is going to be easy to get evidence to prosecute corruption that happened, for instance, during the Moi era, almost 20 years ago? Do you think that's going to be possible? Because we live in a country where things are done by due process. You can't just go and grab somebody's wealth, because you suspect it was obtained through corrupt means. You can't do that. What you need is irrefutable evidence. Evidence that can stand up in a court of law. Not hearsay or rumors, or something you heard somebody say to you 20 years ago. No. You need hard, solid evidence. And that is why the argument amongst a section of Kenyans that all corruption was done before, all people enrich themselves before using public funds, and therefore, if you start accusing this person who started doing corruption only the other day, you're witch hunting. You're targeting a community. This person is less guilty than those who stole many years ago and stole for many years ago. After all, this person has stolen for a short time. You know the argument I'm talking about. And know which camp is arguing like that. Well, I'm very sorry, and I'm not favoring anybody. That argument does not hold any water. And that argument going forward will be extremely difficult to sustain. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.